folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna have a little fun with a 59 frame. Basically, the plan here is now, this is my template essentially, and we're gonna I'm gonna mark my axle center line, we're gonna get it removed, and we're gonna cut the front of the frame. I'm gonna cut it about here, and we're gonna set all this to the side because I'm gonna use this frame as my template. So yeah, that's the plan now, is to cut this, figure out the torsion bar suspension so when I cut it, I don't die. You know that measure twice, cut once thing? I'm finally gonna try that. First time in my life. Like I said, this is the template because I know the body bolts to that, so. It's like a skateboard though, kinda. Don't mind the neighbor's dog fighting ring they got going. Anyway, we've got the rear bumper as high as my head. That's out. I want you to listen to something real quick. Yeah, she's a beehive. Now we're gonna unbolt these torsion bars. I think you just unbolt them there and they should just come right out and not kill me.
Ooh, bye.
Story of my life. Anyway, look at all the nuts in there. Show these people all the nuts. This whole thing is full of nuts. And you know, I just had the thought that I probably should have put the small trailer under the front of this.
Oh.
Because I feel like it's heavy.
I mean, maybe. But you got this little bad boy here. You can maybe like,
yeah, hopefully
pick it back up.
I'm just hoping the rest of the frame is manageable. Because there's the template. I'm just glad I got these unbolted without dying.
Was it scary?
I was nervous on the first one, but then it didn't go flying, so it wasn't bad.
That's the main thing.
Remember the broken tie rod on the 59? Just because it's broke doesn't mean it ain't still tough. Now, we've got wasps coming out of this little motorcycle trailer, which we're fixing to test the limits on. There were wasps in the car frame. There's wasps everywhere right now. Okay, so operation front clip move went overall well. That tire didn't do so well under there, kind of came off, no biggie. Now we've got to lift this back of this frame because as you can see, it's full of nuts. So let's see just how many nuts come out of this. Look at all them nuts. That ain't even all of them. So. Okay, the 59 frame is half in here. I want to bring it the rest of the way in and set it up on this Cummins frame. I got a guy coming to help, but I'm impatient. And you know, honestly, this scoliosis has got to be good for something, so might as well put her to work. Down the road, ducks. You're gonna get smushed. Trying to find where my center point was. About there. The help has arrived. In a real Jeep. What year is this thing? 1980. And it is a real Golden Eagle, isn't it? See, folks, this is what a real Jeep looks like.
Originally black with gold wheels, repainted orange, changed wheels.
I see you got the ducks on the hood. That's very good.
You get scared.
Anyway, back to
My
measuring.
thoughts right now
or get this, basically get this in relationship to this front wheel where it needs to be.
And it's there.
Right, and it's there right now, and then I can trim these and lower it, in which I'll make a mark on this frame. I'll mark the Dodge frame up where this needs to be setting. I can trim those bed mounts to bring this frame down. Like an air gap like this much in between the frames would be offensive. But sitting flush here, I'll still have a gap down there, but I can fill that in with metal, paint it black. I'll cut that, I'll rebrace this old frame, cut that cross member out so it can set even further down, and then lose this and the carrier bearing, get these two frames setting on each other, and then just tack weld it. Get it, you know.
Why don't you get your grinder and we cut these damn frame horns off right here, and that'll get that down that much more. Then you're going to start closing the gap on it, because these aren't going to do you any good regardless.
No, they need to go.
So if you got a cutoff wheel or sawzall, let's just cut these off, and then that'll get this frame down a little bit more.
Okay.
Follow me? That way we don't have to remeasure
Everything.
the front forwards backwards.
Leroy! What's up, no hair?
Starting to look like a Cooper Copper.
Yeah, he's not, he's having a rough go. We got him some new medicine though.
30 inches is what you need to come forward.
And that won't be much harder than just jacking the frame up in the ass, finishing, cutting and air hammering these rivets. And then just take drive shafts out and then just roll it.
Was this a transmission mount?
Yes. Mainly, if it was more than anything, it was just where the torsion bars mounted.
Okay. I didn't know if this part was a transmission mount.
Yeah. But I'll just take some flat steel or something just temporary, or a piece of angle iron, run across weld, lose this, lose that carrier bearing, this dude, it can go. And then I'm thinking, yeah, it'll just be a matter of popping these rivets and rolling this whole mess forward. Because I wasn't originally planning on using any of this car frame at all, but now that it's up here, I think might as well just make it all one strong unit, and then the car will bolt on.
How you gonna get in it?
What do you mean?
The bottom of the doors are right here.
It's gonna be hot. Now here's the thing, I was also looking, because I mean, you see how big these lift blocks are. Anyway, so those can go, I can cut a coil out of the front, because it still sat 3/4 tons. And if, listen, honest to God, if the headlight is about here, that I wouldn't be that upset. My biggest thing is, and the way the 59 sets, it sets down over this frame, so you don't see this frame.
Yeah.
So you'll still see some of that.
Yeah, but you cut your original body mounts off and grind them flat and paint it black.
You won't notice.
Yeah.
She can be a little tall, and the good thing about that car is it sat so low, the roof would only be about here. But I like this way of doing it, because like I said, if I could get away with not having any joints in the middle, plus this thing will have frames, it'll be tough as it's ever gonna need to be. And I like the fact that it'll still just, the car will bolt right on to its old frame for serviceability in the future. So that would put it right there. Yeah, that's perfect. So that takes care of that. So that answers that question. Now, once everything's trimmed, would it be smarter, instead of welding this to the Dodge frame, to weld things on to where this bolts to the Dodge frame?
That's an age-old question, because What do you feel safer in, bolts or welds? Everybody always says bolts are stronger than welds.
The way I always heard it was these rivets are the strongest you can get. The next is the proper bolts, proper graded bolts, and then welds. But honest to God, I mean, Jim out there, his frame has all of my welding in places, and it's been getting me around for years. And that's my welds I did when I was, 20 something. What, dude? See, that's what I think of when I think of a Steiger tractor. Sorry. There you go, folks. I feel a lot better about the idea here. And it turns out we are going to go ahead and use this frame. And it's going to be a double framed unit. There he goes. Thanks again, Ben, for when you don't know it, you at least want to bring in somebody that does know what they're doing, and he's a lot better with a tape measure than me. You saw in the last video getting a game plan. We ditched the drive shaft, it's out of the way, and we cut that cross member out, and we've moved it to this frame, and here are the first two welds of the 59 project. Don't look too close.
Would you just look at that?
Yeah, don't look too close. They're not good. Jesus. Anyway, so now I'm going to weld this here so that I can finish cutting this cross member out and not get too much flex in the whole mess. And then, once that's out, I'm going to take the rivets out of the rear suspension here and in the back, and we're going to slide the whole mess up to where it is in line with where the wheels need to be, essentially. And then we're going to trim the tails off the frame. And then, but this is about how high the car is going to sit, folks. She's going to be a little hard to get into height-wise. It's going to be it's going to be tall. But the body of the car is only 4 feet from top to bottom. So it'll sit about here. So that means the roof of the car is going to be about here, which will still fit in the door here in the garage, which is good. Like cool little stuff I find that I like seeing. When they welded this back in 1959, these were not welded by robots. These were welded by humans. And you can see where they struck their arc and brought it over and then started doing a lovely weld. And listen, if welds like this can hold up from 1959, then my welds, yeah. Look at the amount of truck coming out of there. That's impressive. Just puddles of Dodge. Okay, so if you want to take just the shackles off your Dodge, it's just 4 rivets a piece. And then on these, they're welded, so you're going to have to, lop that. All right, folks. Look at that little short baby wheelbase. Here's what we got going on. Here, I'm going to try to sum this up real quick and try to make sense of it. But first thing I want to say is anybody out there smarter than me that knows stuff, or even if you don't know stuff and just want to say stuff, please get in the comments, like, what would you do? What are your thoughts, tips, tricks, suggestions, old pros that have been doing this for years? Let me know what are your thoughts on this, because I wasn't originally going to use this frame, but the more I look at it, the more it's looking like I'm going to use this frame affixed to this. Now, on the good side, I did not have to cut and splice anywhere in the middle of this Dodge frame, which is ideal, what I wanted, because I just trimmed these rivets and trimmed off these mounts. This is roughly where this axle's going to sit, so this is her new shorty wheelbase. Using this frame is going to depend on, I don't mind if there's, some Dodge frame showing under the car, but I don't want it to look bad. If it looks horrible, we'll try a different route. But for now, this looks like the quickest and easiest, fastest, get this thing back on the road and, you know, fix it up as we go then. But, and biggest thing is it'll be stout. It'll be something I wouldn't be scared to put Jess or the dog or Leroy in and go cruising down the road. Now, the problem with this, the height this sits, if you'll remember in the video where we lifted just the 59 off, it barely cleared the bumper. So I know it's not going to clear the bumper now. Granted, that's up on a jack. It's not going to be that high. And so long story short there is, I need a lifting apparatus better than the A-frame. And I think I found one in a allegedly running, driving, ran when parked, forklift for scrap price at the nearest town. Now, if I can get that bought, and it is what he says it is, I think we're going to just throw a battery and some gas on the Honda Hobbit, and we'll make a video out of this, trust me. Like, we'll do a revive and drive on a forklift. And then, because this forklift, I've looked at it, like, in passing, and just from what I've seen, I think it'll do what I'm going to need it to do, because in the next video, I want to have all the boring stuff done, and I want to be setting the car on this. But I think that forklift will do the job of lifting this up, and then either be something I could, you know, resell, get my money back out of, or just have a forklift around here, because forklifts are cool. I think you put a slow moving vehicle sign on the back, I think you can ride a forklift down the road, down the highway. We're gonna find out. Just thank you all so much for all the support, the watching, the comments, the likes. It would be neat to keep growing this channel and, you know, do more, you know. In my head, I'd like to next year be in this car, this 4-wheel drive Cummins 59 Dodge, with a trailer hooked to it, going back to the same junkyard where this came from to drag more of the cars here. And we're going to turn the ranch here into a junkyard, folks. That's the ultimate goal. And under the watchful eye of Greta herself, we are going to get this thing up, rolling. Look forward to more of this, because we are nowhere near done.